Hello, welcome back to Pod Popper's Place and part 4 of Got a Gamer in Your Life video game themed cards for Kendra's Card Challenge 21.
All right, for card sketch number 10, I want to use this background. I haven't used this yet. And I'm going to use the sentiment, congratulations on your level up. And I am going to use this little die set with this little game controller here. But I think I'm going to, the sentiment might not have so many layers, and this portion might not have so many layers as well, because I want to show as much of this background as I can. So I'm going to cut this to the full 4 and a quarter by 5.5. I'm not going to have a layer behind it, I don't think, at least not right now. I might change my mind, but like I said, I just want to keep as much of the background detail as I can right now. So the sentiment will have to go onto some layers, at least one. It's got 3 there, and I just don't think this is gonna fit on that 3rd layer. And I just don't want to cover up as much of this background, so I think I'm gonna do the look of the framing, but I don't think I'm going to add that extra layer behind it. So there's a couple different ways we can do that. Once again, I turned this over. I used my foam folder to try and soften those edges, and then I used a black pen around it to kind of hide that white. So what happens though is that these are falling off the edge, or we can put these together as a frame, and then this would have to go on the top. Then we're going to lose some of that paper detail, which might be okay, but we really don't need a ton of space for this, right? I mean, it's pretty small. So I think I would rather have this on top. Okay, so if I do it like this, I can, but that edge it's falling off. So I can either get a different size square, or I could pop it up, which would kind of be fun, because then it kind of look like this is in a box. And now if we put this on some foam tape, we can pop it up, and then it's going to kind of get that little controller like this, I don't know, in a case kind of on display kind of look. So what I've done is I've cut out the little pieces twice, little dots that go with this, so that I can make them more raised up looking. And so I'm going to just quickly color those in a little bit, and then we will glue them on here, and I think we will pop that up, and then we will work on figuring out how our sentiment is going to look. So normally these are pretty primary kind of colors, like at least that's what I usually color them. It's like green and red and yellow. So I think I'll stick though with like red, orange, yellow, black. So not exactly like it would normally look, but I think that's okay. I've colored them and I've glued on, and hopefully you can see that there's like kind of a 3D look, because I've got a couple layers on there, and so hopefully it looks like they're popping up a little bit. And then I put some black foam tape on the back of this frame, and then I'm gonna pop that up inside of there. I think that's kind of fun, different. Probably could use a little bit wider foam tape on that, but it's okay. And then we will figure out our sentiment. So for the sentiment strip, I am going to use this orangey yellow. It's 3 1/4 by 1, so it's the largest of the sentiment layers, and I'm not going to add any other layers, but I do want to give it some interest. So before I stamp the sentiment on it, I'm going to take some blending brushes. This is orange. I don't know if there's anything on it. Sometimes there is. It doesn't. I think I cleaned them. Do you think? So yeah, there's nothing on there. So I'm gonna get some orange. Just give it some, I don't know, some fire, I guess, a little bit. So we kind of get that look of some layers going on, but without actually adding any layers. that actually looks pretty good without the layers there. I am struggling a little bit with sketch number 11 because I don't like this pattern with the rest of this. I would rather use, I think, this side, but they have those little funky edges from cutting it from the other side. And it's just not going down well. I don't have a color because it's going across a bunch of different colors here. Can't just use a single color to kind of clean up those white edges. So I'm at a little bit of a dilemma. So I'm thinking about trimming the edges down ever so slightly, but that will change the size of everything, and then it will not connect like it's supposed to. It's supposed to lay out like this. Everything lines up and fits together. So I can do this, but I will have to trim down either just this, or each of these a little bit to make it fit. So, dilemma. This edge is pretty clean, so I could flip it this way, but this edge is not. That's up and down edge that needs to be trimmed. So I'd rather do it this way and then trim it from the top, maybe. This edge needs to be cleaned up as well, but then I have both these side edges, one edge here and both side edges here that need to be cleaned up. So I'm gonna shave these off ever so slightly, as little as I can, and then see, so we have to shave it enough that it actually cuts, right? So it's just a little hair, right? But when you add up those little hairs together, they do turn into more than a hair. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it up first, how it's supposed to be. Let's see, it's supposed to be like that, and that, and that. And then I'm going to flip it over, flip it over, and start taping these pieces together on the back side. Now we can trim this off here and trim that off there, and then we still have the same thing. We just might have a slightly smaller space in here. We should still be able to get that full sentiment piece in there. It just will be maybe a less of a border around it on the background. And now we can figure out, well, what is our background going to be? Obviously, we need to keep it pretty plain because we have a lot going on here. Okay, so here's my thought process. I want to put my favorite gamer in the center of that. It fits perfectly. I won't have any border really, but I'm going to make just a colored background, but I don't have any paper that matches this yellow green color. Obviously all of my inks do I tried to re-ink this, but I think I used the same color, but this is craft ink, which is like kind of like the oxides, but what Stampin' Up! Called craft ink many moons ago. So it didn't really take very well, but I could still use it because it looks like that. And it kind of looks like that color in the lighter areas. So I'm gonna do a little experiment here. I'm using this older paper. It doesn't match what I want. I don't have anything that matches what I want exactly. It's either too yellow or too green, right? So I think I'm going to put some of this darker yellow down first, because this is a water-based ink and that's not. And so I'm gonna go over it with this first. right, so now I'm going to attempt to use this hot mess over here to kind of blend it together. Oof. I think it's making brown. It's not making, I don't think it's making the yellow green that I wanted. So this probably is not gonna be what I want, but you know, we're just gonna keep going forward right now, and we'll see when it's all said and done what we got. Not really what I was going for. Let's clean this up, and I'm gonna try one more yellow on top of that and see if we can get more of what I was looking for. All right. Well, that's kind of giving it more of a yellow appearance. Well, spray some water on it and see what happens. Besides me being a big hot mess, what do you think? You know, the water kind of gives it more of a textured look, kind of like this. All right, I finished sketch number 11, and I added some characters from the Sassy stamp set, and I'm not thrilled with my coloring here, but otherwise I think it turned out okay. I think this weird background that I made actually blends in pretty well with this color, and it looks like a complete card. So I'm going to move on to sketch number 12. Before I move on to card sketch number 12, I had an idea for card sketch, is it number 9, I think, for this little Game Boy thing. In this paper pad, there's these little Space Invaders kind of looking thing, and this is the cover, and so this isn't really going to get utilized, right? So I thought, oh, I should put them in here so it looks like we're actually playing a video game. So I'm going to just measure this little, it's just a square, so yeah, it's about 5/8 inch square. So I am going to cut a 5/8 inch square out of this and glue it in here, and I thought that would be super cute and fun. Probably should have made it slightly bigger. So let's try slightly bigger than 5/8. Yeah, the slightly bigger than 5/8 works better because it goes up into the, fills that line, and you don't see that white space behind it. So a little bigger than 5/8 inch square. But isn't that cute? Looks like there's a video game going on. And I'm kind of struggling with what to do here. I've gone back and forth, had a few different ideas. I think I am going to do something similar though. I'm going to use that same little Game Boy stamp on here, except for I think I will use the cover of this. So this is like, you know, shrunken down, and I can put that on the Game Boy with the Minecraft theme going on back there. So I think that will look pretty good. All right, so I have my little image stamped and cut out and put my little scene on there. It's it actually looks too big for that, but my options were the ground here or the background where it was more blurry, but you can kind of see the trees. And I still might use this one later on a different card, but I decided to go ahead and go with the little steps that was a little more clear to see. And then I need to get these into a banner shape, and when they're short like this, I use a piece of post-it note paper and to hold this, because obviously it's too small to be able to hold it properly in there and get it lined up. So the angles, what always kills me, trying to get this angled right, and then that works pretty well. And with these bigger pieces, you know, usually you can hold it in there and get it right, but sometimes it's nice to just use the piece of post-it note paper and then hold it so you have a little more control over. All right, I have this glued down, but I just felt like this is empty space here. So I've got this die that says "You've Got Game," and it goes with another set, but I thought this would be a really good place for that sentiment. And so I cut out several layers of it so that I can lay it up, and because this is black, it needs to be in white, but I still thought it'd be nice to have a little bit of a shadow. So I've cut it out of white twice and black once, and I'm going to glue these layers together. So I'm just gonna glue these together so that shadow shows a little bit, and we will put that there, and we will be done with our card for sketch number 12.